I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am sorry. You know why? Because I said the last time that was going to be the last one. And it's not. It's not. Here I am again. Here I am again. About the same time. We've talked about this topic. We've talked about NOFX like 4 times now. And I was like, okay, we did it. Fat Mike responding was enough of a sort of an ending I felt to the story, right? Like for sure. I was like, okay, that's the end of the story. This really not like it's really not a story. It's a nothing of a story to begin with. I don't know. Maybe it's a little amusing. But then I was scrolling on Reddit and I came across some Reddit posting. And I was like, how on earth could I ignore this? And I got to tell you, I've been watching some Fat Mike interviews from the premiere down at South by Southwest. And it really is remarkable. Fat Mike was just going around giving interviews like they were fucking candy. And as I'm watching these interviews too, I'm just going like, fuck, like, man, when you interview Fat Mike, you either like you kill by the sword or you die by the sword. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like, Fat Mike does not suffer fools. What I gather from Fat Mike I feel like I have a better understanding of him maybe than I initially did. What I get from Fat Mike, at least in these interviews, is that he is a deeply authentic person. He is far more interested in heart than anything else. He's more interested in heart than knowledge. You know what I mean? If somebody comes across to him as he wants authentic and genuine conversations, and if they're not, he's going to eat you alive. And I just watched him I watched some interviewers just eat it bad. And what's kind of remarkable is that even though they're eating it while interviewing Fat Mike, he still manages, like, while he's like ripping them a new asshole, like while he's like just eviscerating them to an extent, he's also kind of doing it in this really endearing kind of sweet way where you're glad it's not you that it's happening to, and that you're watching the interview and you can't help but kind of laugh at the whole situation. While at the same time, I feel like even if it was me, I would just be laughing and chuckling along. It'd be like, he called me unfunny or a fucking idiot or whatever. I'd be like, yeah. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting. And additionally, that he's not like, he is very much sort of in this he's very flippant in his interviews, and he is very flippantly sort of, just revealing the truth of what's been going on, despite what others may or may not want him to do within his camps and whatnot. But in any case, all of that to say that I could appreciate a guy like, I have empathy and compassion for Dan Frampton a little bit, because I imagine, after watching some of these interviews, I imagine that a guy like Dan Frampton, who I don't think does interviews, I don't know if he's done any interviews on his channel. Like I said, I do not watch regularly, only on occasion, usually when it's something Fat Mike related or whatever. And I don't watch any of that gossip. I really don't. I don't even know who he's gossiping about to enjoy the gossip. Like, I just don't know it. I don't know it. It's too new for me, or I'm too much of an old head. But I'm not even an old head, because I'm not old in that I'm not old enough to have been an old head for the old head stuff either. So I'm, in this weird whatever. That's whatever. But I could imagine how difficult it would be. It's like, I feel like Dan Frampton, after like this new information has come to light, I feel like Dan Frampton was the dog that caught the bus, right? The saying, the dog latches onto the bus and does not know what to do with it. And maybe that's what happened to him. I don't want to make fun of Dan because it seems like he really does potentially suffer from panic attacks and anxiety. So what I'm going to present this in a way where I have empathy for Dan. It must have been very like, I imagine, I'm not in Dan's head, but it must have been very like sort of conflicting and going down there and being so intimidated, but having to play this persona of being this troll and whatever the fuck he does. And I mean, Fat Mike genuinely wanted him down there. Fat Mike genuinely and authentically saw something in this guy and wanted him to come down and be a part of this gathering, and perhaps Dan just couldn't take it at face value. So I'm not going to rehash all the previous parts of the story. There's 2 other videos about this. This is the third, and truly this is the concluding video. This is the conclusion video. I think the only way that we say anything, the only way that I think we say anything more about this is if Fat Mike wants to come on here and talk about the situation. I don't think he would. And I most certainly don't think Dan Frampton would. So this will be the final time that we talk about it. Before we talk about it, let's take a quick moment to talk about our sponsor, Riot Stickers. By the way, you could subscribe. I put Dan's link. Subscribe to Dan if you wish down in the comments. And right here is a sticker. RiotStickers.com is the official sponsor of this show, channel, whatever, the Frumess show, I guess. Can never think of anything more interesting or creative. The Frumess show. The Frumess show. You can get 1,000 stickers for $79. Free shipping and handling. The stickers are 3-inch by 3-inch vinyl stickers, which makes them kind of impervious to the weather. They have a UV coating that protects from the sun. You can get, and mind you, I also want to take back some of the bad things that I said about Dan. Like I think I was kind of negative on him in the last video. I want to take all of that back and say sorry, because I think that this was a lot. I mean, yes, we're looking at the situation, but I don't think it's anything to make fun of Dan for, because Dan, like, clearly Dan tripped himself up in some way, shape, or form, and it probably sucks. The video that we looked at, that's private. He's taken that down for whatever reason. I will say this, and I say this very matter-of-factly, and it's like, I know that Dan Frampton has, done a lot of, like, snarking and trolling and commentating on other people's drama and stuff. And so therefore that's the reason why I'm making this video, in the sense that I feel like it's fair game. Like, not fair game. I feel like it's okay, because I think about how he had no qualms doing this to so many other people, and that it's okay to talk about a situation as long as it's done so in a respectful way. So that's the goal. That's the line to ride here, is to do this in a kind of respectful. I'm supposed to be talking about Riot Stickers, baby. RiotStickers.com/Frumess. It's FRUMESS. Link is down in the description. Free shipping and handling. RiotStickers.com. We'll be right back to talk more about Fat Mike, Dan Frampton, and Fat Mike's NOFX management.
Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb.
Okay, that RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. So as I was saying, I was like, I feel like it's okay to, I feel like it was ultimately this, the receipts are available on the internet. Dan Frampton all day long is on his YouTube channel, saying all sorts of stuff about people and people's situations and drama and whatever. And we've already done two parts of the story. So why are we not we wouldn't conclude the situation? We have to conclude it. It's a trilogy, baby. We got to conclude the trilogy. So I think this is a fitting resolution to the whole situation, the whole thing in and of itself. But like I said, I'm not here to be I'm going to try my best to not be rude or mean-spirited, because anxiety and panic attacks are a real thing. And you know, at the end of the day, like, people act in certain ways when they're under pressure. You know what it is? I want to see all the sides. I'm not here to take NOFX side or Dan Frampton side or anybody's side. I'm just here to look at the situation, is what I guess. I don't know. So on Reddit, I was scrolling on Reddit and I came across this, and it was just like, anytime you see a screenshot of anything, you're just like, oh, what is this? What is this situation? I got to figure this out. What is going on here? Boom. So this tiny little this thing here. This is crazy. And it's crazy because, typically this doesn't always happen, but typically in situations with some, a big entity versus a little entity. And Dan Frampton he's a minnow, right? He's a little minnow in the big old ocean, and NOFX is a big old whale. And what is a big old whale concerned with a little minnow swimming in the great blue ocean, which I think is remarkable. That hey, little minnow, you want to come see our big whale of a premiere? We'll give you a tsunami wave down. Terrible metaphors. Sorry. This is a screenshot of an email from the NOFX crew official Instagram page, and this was deleted minutes after, according to, does it say at the bottom? It doesn't say at the bottom. Here, all right, let me get out of this for a second. If at the very bottom here, it says post was deleted a few minutes later. Crew fired shots at Frampton on their IG. Okay. So they definitely, this is the other side of the story, right? We got that comment from Fat Mike, but that wasn't super revealing, and it left too much to interpret. This, however, provides a detailed account from the other side, along with receipts, and really kind of showing what happened, at least easier to sort of piece together. But like I said, part of the piece of that puzzle was realizing that Dan legitimately might have been having a panic attack and might suffer from some kind of anxiety. And that's nothing to laugh. I'm not laughing at Dan. We're just presenting it as is. Dan flew down and potentially had a real panic attack. It says, "Hey, Dan Frampton, this is Jay Reynolds, manager for NOFX. We're a little puzzled by your actions following the NOFX premiere. You seem to be very angry at us for how you were treated. You have been talking nonstop shit about Fat Mike and our crew on your podcast, which is weird because we treated you better than we treat literally anyone." Now, that's what happened. Dan came back, and now you can't see it. You can't see it now. You could watch it because we captured it. So it's on, unless, my video gets torpedoed. I have it. I have the video of Dan just absolutely he is eviscerating NOFX. He's talking a lot of shit. Not gonna lie. He's talking a lot of shit for a guy that had some serious hospitality thrown his way. How about that? I think that's a fair, even assessment, right? He talked a lot of shit for someone who got money thrown his way to fly down there, and apparently more than that. Let's continue. Jay continues, which is weird because we treated you better than we literally treat anyone. In fact, Fat Mike set this whole thing up because he really wanted to meet you and show you that he is not the asshole that you keep saying that he is. So I have seen on previous Dan Frampton videos where he does call Fat Mike an asshole or whatever, talks about Fat Mike's various, as Smelly said in that statement, he said, Fat Mike is a complicated guy, complex guy. And yeah, I mean that, yeah, there, yes, there. Um, but Fat Mike watched Dan Frampton's liked to watch Dan Frampton's videos and was like intrigued enough that like, hey, come here, let me show you that I'm not an asshole. You're clearly a fan of mine. You know my music, you talk about my music, come out. That pretty genuine, pretty incredible gesture because Dan is just a face on the internet. Fat Mike does not have to do that, right? And Fat Mike turns to his team and he's like, "Hey, make sure this guy's comfortable, right?" Um, let's continue on. In fact, Fat Mike set this whole thing up because he really wanted to meet you and show you that he is not the asshole that you keep saying that he is. He told me and Melanie, not Melody. So I guess Dan was referring to her as Melody. I don't remember, but we will refer to her as Melanie. I do remember there was somebody with an MEL name to take care of you and let him know when you got to the. And I mean, look, this is and Dan. Hey, since what clearly Dan was greener than maybe he's sitting there telling you that he's a professional, but the reality is that this was a learning experience for him. And part of when you're in any sort of situation like this, you make sure that you pronounce people's names correctly. You do or do your best to pronounce someone's name correctly. And that's coming from a guy who butchers everybody's name, but at least I'm worried about it and I make a conscious effort not to. So that's important. I think that's important. And clearly Jay and probably Fat Mike and whoever else was like, don't take it out on Melanie, right? Jay says, firstly, I would like to let everyone know that Mike personally paid for your flights and hotel. I have the receipts. So it seems odd that you added a GoFundMe page asking for money for expenses, including hotel expenses. So that there's a video on Dan's page. I don't know if maybe he made that private. He probably made all the videos private, right? If he made that one video where he says, I hate Fat Mike, then he probably made all of the videos private, right? Where he says, he's saying in the GoFundMe, hey, I need money for a hotel expense. We weren't sure what Fat Mike was subsidizing, right? But I mean, the dude got a flight and hotel round trip to see a free premiere of a band that he clearly reveres. And Jay and the rest of the team, rightfully so, I would be annoyed if it was me, found out that he had a GoFundMe. When did they find out he had a GoFundMe? I don't know. I don't know if did he tell them in advance? He was pimping the GoFundMe before the trip. So trying to raise funds, so, I watched it, funds related to just a bunch of stuff. It wasn't just hotel expenses. It was like lost wages. Does Dan really work at a Starbucks? I do not know. Mike paid for your hotel expenses. You raised $1,700 from your followers. How exactly did you spend that $1,700 in 2 nights? I think your donors might want to know. I mean, that's kind of shitty. So he got so NOFX crew official, they tagged him straight up. And I wonder if in tagging him that caused him to delete his video, or did they say, hey, if you take down your video, we'll take down this post? I don't know why they decided to delete it. Maybe they thought it was beneath them. Maybe Jay was like, fuck this. I don't need to, chew this guy out. I'm not going to. He continues on though. Secondly, there's 10 pages here. Secondly, and I mean, it was deleted almost instantly. So somebody screenshotted this and uploaded it to Reddit. It's true, man. To an extent, the internet really is kind of forever. Not always, but it can be forever. Secondly, Mike was at the venue for 9 hours on the day you were there. So we have confirmation from management, and I don't think they would fucking lie, right? So Mike was there for 9 hours. He hung out at the tailgate party, the one that Dan said he was at and that Fat Mike was not at. Did multiple interviews, and I just watched 2 of them. I watched one of them outside somewhere. I wonder if that was one of the tailgate interviews. So it's very possible that Dan suffered from crippling anxiety, could not perform, and made this video in response. And I'm sure, listen, I've seen a lot of comments like annoyed with Dan Frampton. I'm not mad at Dan Frampton. I'm kind of frustrated for him. I guess I'm sad. I have to imagine that nobody is more upset about this than Dan Frampton himself. I'm sure Dan Frampton is pissed, and not necessarily pissed at the band that he is whatchamacallit, that he is blaming. He's pissed at himself, man. He's pissed at himself. He fumbled. He was thrown the fucking quarterback. What is it? He was thrown the touchdown pass and he fumbled it. He fucking fumbled it, dude. And listen, I'll say this. I have been in that situation where I have fumbled the ball and it does not fucking feel good, dude. It feels terrible. I'm going to highlight Teddy's comment because he tipped us, which is a very nice thing to do. He says, did I make a live stream? I don't know what that means unless that you were the person that screenshotted this and then posted it to Reddit, and I found it, and now I'm making a live stream about it. So yes, Teddy, I would say, or Ted, sorry, I called you Teddy. Ted, it's 2 Ds, so I figured there's a Y there. There wasn't a Y. So Ted, yes, this live stream is happening because you screenshotted this. Yes, correct. So thank you for the support. Very nice. And thank you for the material to even do this video. So, I mean, look, I'm sure, and especially after reading this, I'm sure probably Dan is even more pissed off at himself. I went to go see if Dan had made any other videos about NOFX. None, but he is like churning out videos about everything else but NOFX. When, I don't know. So he did 2 Q&As and introduced the film twice. So Fat Mike was all over there. So Dan, it's quite possible maybe that Dan was even in the room and just simply didn't go up to. Who knows? All I know is that I will admit, I do not think that Dan is a reliable narrator here. I think that what Jay is writing is a more accurate representation of the events that went down, and he's got the photographic evidence to back up what he is saying. So in the court of public opinion, again, I think it clearly comes out in Fat Mike and NOFX favor, and management, the hospitality. I mean, they showed this guy some serious hospitality. And yeah, he says, Jay continues, why didn't you introduce yourself to Melanie or me or Sharky? I think he was calling him Shark Boy. Sharky, his name's Sharky, or literally anyone at the venue. The whole point of Mike flying you down was to hang out with you. I understand that you may have been nervous to meet Fat Mike, but dude, he flew you down there for that specific reason. It wasn't like it was a show. There were only 100 people there, and Mike was talking to everyone. So this is an incredibly personal event, right? This is a very, very personal event. And it's very, look, 100 people is like nothing. It's like a press junket, really. That's what they created their own like organic press junket full of YouTubers to do interviews. I mean, that's kind of fucking awesome. because they could have probably had anybody there, and they chose to do it like that, which kind of reflects what Smelly was saying about, hey, we're a family and blah, blah, blah. Ted has supported us further, so I'm going to highlight Ted's comment again. Very nice of you, Ted. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. He says, continue, he says, no, that was not my screenshot. I had just been trying to support you live and finally timed it. I'm an DC punker. The Dan thing is a coincidence. Oh, I am sorry. I just assumed the way that I read that previously, I misunderstood. Either which way, I tip my hat to you, sir, for your tip. That's very kind of you. And thanks. Welcome to the chat. Listen, if you're always wondering, I go live at such random times. I go when I go. It might say 11:45 p.m. It does not mean I'm going to go live 11:45 p.m. If you turn on, do the thing, like the video, subscribe to my channel. If you do some of those things, if you turn on notifications, it'll let you know when I'm going live. And so when we have like something like this, we can go live, and you can jump into the live chat, because we chat in the live chat. I'll go back to the comments when I'm finished reading this. But I'm going to be, I noticed there's some mean again, I'm trying to be gentle towards Dan here. Why? Even though Dan is kind of a jerk. He is kind of a jerk. It's because, again, I think that like the anxiety, panic attack stuff, I want to be sensitive to it. I'm trying my best to be sensitive to it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Maybe this it's inconsequential and I end up looking like an asshole anyway, whatever. He says there's only 100 people there, and Mike was talking to everyone. 100 people, it's like a party, man. It's like a party. And you could have just literally asked, or you could have asked literally anyone to meet Mike. So look, let's play devil's advocate. Let's put let's say that the anxiety and the panic attack is an excuse and it's not actually true for 1 second. Dan or anybody else, let's say if I was in Dan's situation, and I've been in a couple backstages, and I've been in a couple of like sort of event type places, not as like official press, but like just being able to eyeball, okay, who's the support, and B, where the, whoever might be hanging out. Oh, they're back there. Oh, they're over there. And going to someone and being like, hey, can you give me an introduction? I'd really like to. Or I know that he's talking to everybody right now. Fat Mike. I know Fat Mike is doing interviews and talking to everybody. I just wanted to check in with you. Is there like a slot or a time, or would there be a good time to sort of, jump in there, or to just be fucking, just be brash about it and walk up and be like, hey man, wait for a pocket. That's the other thing too. You could wait for a pocket. That's awkward. That could be awkward. When you're waiting for a pocket, you're not in the conversation. You approach a conversation, you're waiting quietly. You don't want to jump into the conversation, because then you're just kind of like pushing yourself into a conversation that you're not really in for a reason that doesn't concern the people that are having the conversation. That's kind of rude, right? But at the same time, you want to say something, you're waiting for a pocket, you're sitting there waiting awkwardly. The person that you want to speak to knows that you're fucking want to speak to them. They can see that you know who they are, and it's awkward because they're still having that conversation. They know that you're there, and they're not going to stop, I'm really trying, Dan. I am trying so hard. I'm trying hard to be gentle. It's incredibly difficult. It's difficult. I mean, this is ridiculous. You could have just asked literally anyone to meet Mike. Maybe you just wanted this trip to be about content and not about making a real connection with someone, ? I don't, Jay, NOFX management, who will never watch this, but hey, you want to know something? I think that he legitimately in his mind was like, this is really cool. I'm going to get some great videos out of this. I'm going to interview Fat Mike. I'm going to come down. Came down, like I said, dog catching the bus, right? Once he was down there, did not know what the fuck he was doing, didn't know what to do, and basically got inside of his own head. He was so preconceived with looking cool, and probably deathly afraid of Fat Mike's. Because look, Fat Mike, again, after watching some interviews, Fat Mike has a sharp wit, dude. He does. He does in interviews. The guy's probably done a million interviews. Anybody who's done a million interviews, like if you're not like, another great one is Jack Grisham is like this too. There's a few of them. If you Bill Burr before before Bill Burr imploded, Bill Burr, like if they just don't suffer, they're not going to suffer your stupid questions. Doyle from the Misfits, not going to suffer your stupid questions. And Doyle probably has the shortest fuse out of everybody. Not that he's going to like explode at you, but just that like he just is going to shut down and just be like whatever. It puts up a wall completely. But Mike is I would be I personally would feel very intimidated, and I can talk, I can gab. I'd be so afraid of Mike's he's acerbic. He has an acerbic wit. He's smelling for blood. And the best part about Mike's interviews, and I'm sure maybe Dan watched a ton of these interviews before he went down there to prepare himself and probably got in his own head and made it even worse, is that when Fat Mike smells blood, dude, like he'll go for it. He will go for it. And the interviewer doesn't even know what Fat Mike is doing. Fat Mike is just completely making fun of the interviewer, amusing himself in the process, and amusing anybody who's watching the interview who can understand what's going on. Yes, Jack, listen, Jack Grisham is the nicest guy you will ever meet. I agree. I've met Jack many times. I know Jack. I met him many times. But Jack is also a guy who does not take bullshit. Jack will not suffer bullshit, man. He just won't. Actually, there's a great interview with Fat Mike and Jack Grisham, and it's a great the two guys going back and forth. They're great. Really great. Fat Mike actually is pretty good at interviewing. I liked his I don't think he does the podcast anymore. It was a pretty fun podcast. I like that podcast. So Dan is walking into what potentially could be a viper pit, right? Like just really a bad situation. And maybe that's what intimidated him. So I think he legitimately wanted the trip to be about having a good time and getting some good videos out of it. I don't think it was just about purely making content or purely shitting on NOFX. But at the same time, it's kind of like what he ended up doing. You know, he went down there. Well, you'll see. I don't want to speak before. I'll let the receipts. I'll let the receipts speak for themselves. How about that? Third, Jay says the third thing. The real bummer was that you talk so much shit about Melanie. Sharky and I can take shit talk, but you made Melanie really sad. From what Jay says, it sounds like, and we only know Melanie from what Dan had said, I guess, but like, it sounds like Melanie's just a really nice person. One of those really nice, people on the team, whatever she does in whatever kind of support she does. And it's, Jay is like, hey man, like you're going to talk shit about, Fat Mike is an easy person to talk shit about. Right. But like, don't talk about Melanie. So that to me, I don't know Melanie, but it sounds like Melanie must be a really great person. And that he can't stand to see that happen. So I can appreciate that. I can also appreciate that. Oh shit. What am I doing here? Let me get back to, hold on. Do I have to shrink this down? There we go. Let's go to the next page. All right. Here's the final page, but then we have receipts. The receipts are the most damning thing. The receipts are probably the hardest thing to really look at, I think, because they really show the truth. They back up everything that Jay is saying right now in his email. Melanie, so Dan, who referred to himself as just a sterling professional in his video, Melanie is a professional who did everything she could to help you. You can see the screenshots of the convos with Melanie and Sharky if you're keen. And this is where you really get a sense of what kind of person Melanie is, because I got to tell you something. Melanie is probably dealing with how many other fucking people, and that she even takes the time to text with Dan like this. I mean, it just sounds like it. Dan seems like a socially awkward, anxiety-driven, socially inept person who just is on the internet all the time. Like, you also, what's interesting is in looking at the text messages, you see beneath the veneer of Dan, you see that what he does on here is a character. Like the Dan that I was reading in the text that we're going to look at in a second is what I think the real Dan, and it's also the fearful Dan. Dan is very afraid. You can see it in the text messages. In any case, Melanie is a professional who did everything she could to help you. You can see the screenshots of the convos with Melanie and Sharky if you're keen. In conclusion, Dan, we feel like you took advantage of not only Mike's good faith, but your followers, NOFX, Fat Mike, and Melanie would appreciate a public apology. And I bet your followers wouldn't mind knowing where their $1,700 went. Glad you enjoyed the movie. I have to say, Dan, I think you should apologize. You should make a public apology for sure. 100%. Taking the video down was, I guess, good. Or maybe you shouldn't have taken the video down. Maybe you need to leave the video up and amend it with an apology or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I do think you, Dan, I do think you owe an apology. I think you should apologize to Fat Mike. I think you should apologize to Melanie and Sharky and to Jay. That's what you should do. And I guess your followers, right? For the $1,700, you know? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to concur with that. Not that anybody's asking me for my concurrence, but I mean, this is pretty damning shit, man. This is pretty damning shit. Okay. Now this is actually makes me uncomfortable. Like reading these made me very uncomfortable. And again, when I was reading these, this is when I was like, should I even do this video? Because Dan is clearly not, this is not an act. Dan has anxiety and panic attacks, right? But maybe like that doesn't excuse him from being an asshole, and therefore it's okay for me to make this video, right? Because he makes all those videos where he's doing this all the time. So now he's the center of it, and is he not fair game? And so I was like, okay, well, I think, listen, tell me if I'm wrong. I think I have been pretty even keel towards Dan. Very matter of fact, but even keel with Dan up to this point. Parasocially, because I never met Dan Frampton. I never talked to him in my life at all. So here are the screenshots. Somebody brings up, I wonder if he's ever traveled before. I don't think that he has. That like he is I think Dan is a very socially awkward, anxiety-laden guy who is kind of a shut-in and antisocial and just talks to people through YouTube, I guess. Here's what the screenshot says. So this is Dan, and this is Melanie with Dan. Are you here? I'm upstairs. And Dan responds, not anymore. I was there all day. I had to come back to the hotel because all of this is so new to me. I had no idea what to do or where to go and had a massive panic attack. And I have to tell you, no, first of all, this is not professional. This is not professional, especially when people paid you money to come down and basically hang out, but also to, I mean, in a journalistic kind of way, Dan is down there, right? On some level. Um, I mean, this is pretty fucked up. This is fucked up. He says, I had no idea what to do or where to go, which I don't think is an excuse either. Then I mean, even if you have anxiety, if you're going to do it, if you're able to get out the door, if you're able to get on a plane and get down there, then, you can't ask someone, hey, like, what do I do? Or send an email saying, how does this usually work? So telling the person that you have a working relationship with, or whatever you want to call this, or who's the hospitality support, that you had a massive panic attack is, I don't know. Let's keep looking on. Here is Melanie continues. You could have texted me earlier. I just stepped out for dinner, but I was here since 1 p.m. Are you okay? So Melanie asks, are you okay? She cares. Melanie cares. Are you okay, Dan? Right? Like, are you okay? Dan says, I'll be okay. It's all good. And mind you, Melanie, who, again, I don't know what Melanie does within the NOFX camp, but Melanie's busy. Melanie is working, and Melanie is probably dealing with 1,000 spinning plates, but she's taking her time to ask Dan if he's okay. Because if someone says I have a massive panic attack and you're dealing with like 5 other fucking YouTubers, I'd be like, okay, great. Well, okay. And you're back at the hotel already? What the fuck? Like, really? Okay, bye. I got other fucking shit to do. But Melanie, like, clearly, like, cares. And Dan, I don't want to say he takes advantage of that, but he clearly, like, leans into it. He's leaning into the thing, right? He says, I'll be okay. It's all good. I didn't know what to do earlier. I'm not used to people in show business, and I had no idea who I was allowed to. And then I can't see the rest of that. But what a thing. I'm not used to people in show business, but going on your YouTube channel and talking about how professional you were. I mean, there is accountability too, right? In this way, here's the thing. I'm not going to I wouldn't necessarily come down on Dan for having anxiety and having panic attacks. I would never do that to anybody who suffers or deals with those challenges, right? That's a real thing. But at the same time, like, there is also accountability, especially accountability where money was spent on you to come do this thing, right? To say sorry would not be unreasonable. Wouldn't be unreasonable. I'll be okay. It's all good. I didn't know what to do earlier. I mean, this is some shit. This is some shit. Melanie continues. Good to hear you're feeling better. Like, again, she doesn't, like, she's being very personable. Maybe does she really is she really glad to know that he's feeling better? Who knows? Again, crazy busy weekend, and she has to spend, because what Melanie has to do right now, she's spending emotional energy dealing with this guy from Canada, this YouTuber from Canada. You know what I mean? Which is just nice. Again, she's a representative of NOFX. So whatever she says to these guys or these people, vendor, press, journalists, whatever, digital, YouTube, blah, 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 like, she is a representative. And so she has to be professional too, but she's also being personable. Part of being professional is being personable. I work in my day job. What I do, I am constantly working with people. I work on 3 different sites, and I oversee 4 different organizations. Okay. 3 different organizations. doing something very specific, AV related. And I'm constantly dealing with people at all times. And part of being professional is being personable. Part of doing my job is doing it with no matter what I'm feeling inside, leaving all the bullshit behind and making sure that the people that I'm interacting with are like, good and comfortable with my demeanor because I know that I'm representing my department. Melanie knows that she's representing her department, NOFX. So she says, glad to hear you're feeling better. Feel free to text me tomorrow. And if you want, and if what screening you want to come to, assuming you plan on coming to one, laugh emoji, trying to be lighthearted, like trying to keep it like, what's it called? What's that word? Fuck. Keep it not light, keep it, oh my God. Tip of the tongue. What's the word, people? What's the word? When you levity, keeping things, adding some levity to the situation, right? So even after Dan shits the bed here, this is shitting the bed, right? You've been given this hospitality, you throw it back. Still, Melanie is trying to make it work. Feel free to text me tomorrow. And if what screening you want to come to, right? Assuming that you plan to come to one. And Dan says, I was at the 4 p.m. showing today. And Melanie responds, me too. Oh my God. And she says, did you enjoy it? And Dan says, loved it, cried like a baby. And she says, okay, have a good night. And he says, you too. And she says, hope to see you tomorrow. So she makes this is a legitimate fucking, chance. Wow. Ted is very generous tonight with his tipping. So I'm going to highlight Ted's comment again. Thank you, Ted. I really appreciate it. He says, I know we're all trying to give Dan sympathy. However, he's coming off more and more as an antisocial sociopath who's taking advantage of his fans. As soon as his lies are finally being questioned, it all falls apart. Ted, you're right. Ted, you're fucking right, man. I mean, I'm trying to be I am trying so fucking hard. Dan is a fucking asshole, dude. He's a fucking asshole. This is fucking bullshit, man. This is fucking bullshit. Social anxiety, yes. Panic attacks, yes. I mean, come on, man. Come the fuck on. It just fucking gifted a fucking expense paid trip for talking on the internet. Dan was so good at talking on the internet that Fat Mike fucking flew him down there, paid for his fucking hotel. He had his people fucking looking out for him. Take care of this guy. I want to meet him. And Dan just fucking shit the bed. This was shit. He shit the fucking bed, man. It's true. It's true. The more as you keep reading it, you keep trying. Well, panic attacks and social. Yeah. But I mean, come on, come the fuck on. I'm sorry. I tried. Oh my God. These comments, they loop around. Okay. It's ridiculous. I mean, he could say, cried like a baby. Did he really cry like a baby? Is he being sarcastic right now? Maybe. I don't know. Again, like there's a part of me that's like, is Melanie is good at doing her job and she's doing the labor of dealing with this guy. And it's like the fact that she has to entertain this, that she's even entertaining this because she needs to entertain so many other things at the same time. It's silly. Well, no, it won't do it. All right. So she says, hope to see you tomorrow. She's still trying to make this fucking work. She's still trying to make this work. So this is a different one. I think this is Sharky. And so here's the other thing, and I'm realizing this right now as I'm saying, oh, Dan, Dan, anxiety, panic attack, blah, blah, blah. Here is Dan having some agency. This is what you do, Dan. Dan, what you did here was the right thing to do. You go, hey, man, my name's Dan. Jay told me to text you when I got to the venue. I'm out front. That's all you had to fucking do. That's all you had to do with Melanie. Hey, hey, Melanie, is there a good time to chat with Fat Mike? Or, hey, can you give me a soft intro into Fat Mike or whatever? Or, hey, Sharky, can you, whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's really not that fucking, you clearly know what you're fucking doing here, man. Sharky says, tell the people at the door you're on Jay's list and Sharky, they'll give you so maybe this is someone else. I don't know who this is. Is Sharky going to give the wristband or is this Sharky just talking in third person? I don't know. That they'll give you a wristband. The entrance is on the side. Dan responds, I was in earlier for the 4 p.m. showing. I had no idea what to do next. And to be honest, I'm in full panic attack mode now. So I'm going back to my hotel. And the response was, they didn't let you in, ! Like shocked that they didn't let him in with the juice. Like, cause you know what the juice is? Do you have the juice to get backstage? Do you have the juice to get into the show? That's what having the juice, right? Dan had the fucking juice. He didn't know how to use it. He didn't know that the juice was loose. He didn't know how to drink the fucking juice. He didn't know how to make the juice work for him. Like, where was Dan the whole time? Like, if Fat Mike was walking around, if Melanie is there, if Sharky's there, is Dan just like is in full on like panic attack, anxiety mode and like can't talk to anybody? Or is he using that as an excuse because he's mad? Is that like a defense mechanism? Oh, I'm having a panic attack and then that diffuses everybody. Is that the way, like, as a means of like, when people get really drunk and then they just do really shitty things and then they blame it on being drunk and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, so drunk last night. And it's like a way of excusing bad behavior. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. He says, I was here earlier for the 4, but he said something in his video. I don't recall. We'd have to go back and watch it. I'm not going to do that. He said something in the video about, what the fuck did he say? He said he didn't want to get a second wristband and there was no way he was going to go through the humiliating process of having to text someone again or something. So part of me was like, oh, Dan just really takes himself really too fucking seriously. That was my reaction in the first video. But now we can clearly see that Dan is just inept and maybe he does suffer from panic attacks, but that's his go-to for everything, right? Is that what he does? Yeah, he says his panic attack was actually anger. Exactly. This really is some shit. Next slide. All right, ready? He says, I tried calling you, but it's going to voicemail. So if he tried to call him and it's going to voicemail, but he's in an Uber, if he's responding via text, that means that, is it possible? I can't say for certain. Does that mean that Dan declined the call? So Sharky, after hearing all this, calls the fucking guy. Calls the guy. There's 100 other people there. Calls this one fucking guy. He says, oh shit, I'm in my Uber now. I'm sorry. Which is, he says, did you tell them that you're on our list? And he responds, I was in earlier. I was supposed to be on Melanie's list. They let me in. I couldn't face them a second time and had a panic attack. So he's saying it's a panic attack thing. Like, that's what, I'm not saying that he could legitimately have had a panic attack. Maybe he did. Maybe that does explain all of the behavior, but it's fucking nuts, dude. It's nuts. It's like the hottest girl at school coming up to you and being like, hey, I want to take you behind the lockers and, and just blowing your fucking load before you can even take a step. That's what it is. That's the best analogy. That's the best analogy for all of this. Even this guy, even Sharky, is also asking if he's okay. So every time Dan invokes the panic attack, which again might be legitimate, might be real, but every time he invokes the panic attack, whether it's with Melanie or Sharky or whoever, they ask him, I hope you're okay. Fat Mike in the comments says, I heard you had a panic attack. I hope you're okay. Or be well, be healthy, Dan. Right? Like all that stuff. And still, he shat all over them in his video. So I hope you're okay. Would you like to come tomorrow? You were on her list. They said they told me I wasn't on the list, but the moment and then we can't see the rest of it. Doesn't say how. Oh, 38 people liked this before I guess it was deleted, right? They all expressed concern as well as offering medical treatment. I mean, they're expressing concern, man. It's just fuck, man. Dan, what the fuck, Dan? He says, oh, okay. He says, I couldn't face them a second time and I had a panic attack. So Dan is straight up blaming having a panic attack for the reason why he couldn't face them the second time and make this all work. And Sharky says, I hope you're okay. Would you like to come tomorrow? You were on her list. They said, they told me I wasn't on the list, but the moment I mentioned Melanie's name, they let me in. I fly out at 1 p.m. tomorrow, unfortunately. This fucking guy. Apologies for the confusion. Sharky apologizes. He apologizes, dude. He apologizes. He says, did we meet? Did you get to meet the band? So, and Dan gets angry at Sharky in his video saying, did we meet? Did you get to meet the band? And we know how Dan really felt in his video, the way that he lashed out in the video when he was crashing out. But when we actually read the fucking text exchange, which is right here, they have the fucking receipts. He says, apologies for the confusion. Dan, you never mentioned that. Sharky apologized for the confusion. I met no one, unfortunately. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. They told me I wasn't on the list, but I fly out at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Just wow. Wow. As I said before, if you're going, and especially if somebody's paying for the hotel, and you were able to raise $1,700 from a GoFundMe from your fans, right? Like, why on earth? What Ted says? Why are we talking about this? I'll tell you why. I'm talking about this because this is egregious. This is egregious, man. This is the full thing, man. This is the full situation. But this gives us all of the answers that we were trying to figure out. We weren't going to get them from Dan, and most certainly we weren't going to get them from NOFX. But now we have them. So I had to complete it. I had to finish it. I had to finish off the thing. And I think that's it. I think that's that's the end of the screenshots. I met no one, unfortunately. It's all good, man. I mean, this is, you know what this is? There's a term for this. It's called snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Dan had the jaws of victory opened for Dan, right? The jaws of victory opened for Dan, and he snatched defeat out of them instead of being glorious, being like, I talked so much about NOFX and Fat Mike on the internet that they flew me down there and put me up in a hotel to watch their fucking premiere and meet them and interview them. That's how fucking rad I am. That's how rad I am. Some other interesting notes from that interview, and then I'll go to some comments, and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay? Because we're already at the hour. Some other interesting things from the interviews that Fat Mike had done. Fat Mike was talking about the Melvin situation. So some other interesting details that I learned from that. One, Melvin was down there. They had band meetings with Melvin. Mike confronted Melvin. They got in each other's faces about the whole situation. There are some details where Mike is sort of wishy-washy on it, jumps from saying it like one way to saying like another way. I couldn't really exactly make heads or tails of what exactly happened with legal documents with Melvin or when it happened. He was talking about there was a 2-year period before they received a letter, this, that, and the other. He talked a lot about Melvin was not allowed to be on the same tour bus as him, that they shared a tour bus always, and that he was not allowed. And I think what he was trying to do, he was trying to insinuate that the wife, that Melvin's wife, was forbidding him from going on the field trip, for going on the bus with Fat Mike. And I'll say this, look, I'll say one thing. If you have to control your partner in that way, if you have to get in between, I mean, that's like a really fucked up situation. That's a fucked up situation on so many levels. It's fucked up because, you have a relationship with this guy who's not only in your band, but it's like a brother, right? And your best friend. And then also this is like you on the other side, you have your wife and the love of your life forbidding you to have certain people in their life and like, to me, that's like, I mean, that's such a fucking red flag, dude. If your significant other is saying like you're not allowed to have this person in your life anymore for whatever reason, that, I don't know, that's crazy. So he talked a lot about that, and then he also mentioned numbers. So for the last 10 years, he claimed for the last 10 years, NOFX has made, I guess Mike was trying to be tricky. He was trying to say, it's like he wants to get the truth out there. He wants to tell the truth, but he's doing it in a very wishy-washy kind of way so that it might be slippery in a courtroom setting should it ever come to that. So it can't be incriminating. But he did mention that for the last 10 years, they made anywhere between a ballpark of $180,000 to over $200,000 per person off of each tour. And that between guarantees, and they were getting a piece of the bar and a piece of the parking, at least for the last tour, I guess they did that. And then the number 2.8 million was mentioned. The gross, that's the gross amount, I guess, that they made for the entire tour. I don't think it was per person. If it was per person, that's kind of insane. I mean, that's a lot of revenue for NOFX on tour. My God, I mean, it's over $10 million. And that would just be per band member, right? Because it's supposed to be the final tour where that sets them up for everything. Fat Mike talked about how he was the 50% owner of the Punkin Drublic Festival, and that he wanted instead, again, I wasn't understanding all the percentages, but he basically switched it in a way, or he had offered a piece to all of his bandmates who did not want in on the action because it was too much of a risk. They rather stick with the guarantee. A guarantee means a guaranteed amount of money that you're going to make per show with no risk. And Fat Mike was willing to take that risk. And there was resentment over Fat Mike having money on the during COVID times when they weren't touring and everybody else was kind of like hard up for money. And there was resentment over that potentially. And then he was sorry, I'm trying to pull all this out of my head that I'm trying to remember every detail that they mentioned in the interview. And again, like, go and listen to him talk in the interviews, because I don't have all the facts entirely straight. Okay. Just want to make sure that I'm saying that. I just sort of paraphrasing what was said off the top of my head via Fat Mike. This is what Fat Mike is telling the interviewers. But I just was finding it interesting. I guess Fat Mike trying to flippantly being transparent to a couple of no-name YouTuber guys who were talking to him at the premiere. And then something about how he wanted to only he got himself out of the festival, or he made it so that the only money he was pulling in was as 20% of NOFX. he got 20%. So I guess 20 for each of the band members, and then I guess 20% goes to management, right? So that's a 5-way split. And something about 60% of whatever the entire, maybe it was the gross or the net, goes to NOFX in the first place. And then of that 60%, they're each taking 20%. I think, if I was understanding that correctly, something like that. And Mike did that as a way to prove to the other guys of like, hey, we're all earning, we're all equal, we're all earning. And then obviously the stuff about not wanting to tour. He didn't want to tour anymore for years and years and years and years. For over a decade, he didn't want to tour anymore, going all the way back. And that drugs were a way to cope with having to do those tours, which put a wedge. And then the most interesting thing of all, now a while back, it was like a 3-hour video. In fact, it was the first NOFX video that I did on this channel, I think. And it was the Spin interview that they put out right around the time that the band broke up or called it quits. And it was a very in-depth interview, and it was revealing, and it was ugly, and it really kind of showed you why the band was putting an end to it, because the band had just said, hey, we're stopping, and there wasn't really a reason, at least a reason that was so public and forward facing, right? And then Mike revealed, and this was crazy to me, that, and it didn't understand why in the interview, the Spin interview, which I remember, that Fat Mike was only talking about the records. He was talking about how the records were recorded, right? He was talking about what things that he wanted to try, why he was recording the records, like all that sort of stuff, right? And the other guys were indeed talking about the dysfunction with Mike and the dysfunction within the band and all this stuff. And I guess, according to Mike, that it was manipulative. The interviewer at Spin sort of did like a bait and switch or something along those lines. It was there was deception in how, allegedly there was deception in how the interview was sourced and conducted. And when Fat Mike read the interview, because he didn't initially, but when he read the interview, he was shocked to see all the things that his bandmates had been saying about him, right? And was like, at least, so I mean, again, and it's obviously all of this is Fat Mike's perspective, and I'm sure those other guys have their own perspective. But yeah, it was interesting that Melvin, and he also said that Melvin has him blocked on Instagram. And that Fat Mike did not hear or read Melvin's statement initially, whatever was put on, and that created more agita. But that oh shit, this is not working. Incense. Why do I light incense? I don't know. I just like it. I like it. Oh, this is a good one. Wow, that smells delicious. This is positive vibes, man. Positive vibe. No, I like lighting incense. Good for the energy, man. Yeah, but the Spin article was very manipulative. Fat Mike claims that he was called separately, which it does, and I got to tell you, it does explain why it felt so disjointed. Fat Mike is only talking about the recording of music, while the band members are talking about Fat Mike, doing drugs and the dysfunction and the fraying of the edges and everything. So that's kind of crazy. But it all came down to money, man. At least for one. Fat Mike, I think what he has said, and what he has really kind of like explained in depth is that he's hurt that a betrayal had come from someone so deeply close to him. He felt betrayed, that whatever he was saying to his friend couldn't be taken at face value, and that was a problem. You know what I mean? Thank you, Ted. Once again, Ted is just lighting up the tips tonight. How close am I to DC? I live in New York, my friend. I'm nowhere near DC. But if you're down in DC, my good friend from high school, Devin, is opening a brand new tiki bar. He has a place called the China Club. No, what is it? The China Cat Club? Is it China Cat Club? I don't know. Dumpling spot. He's opening a brand new bar called Astro Zombie. And he asked me to design the Misfits table. And you know what? Just because we're here, I'm going to show you. This is, I don't know. It's not an exclusive, but wow, I love the smell of this incense. Is fucking great. I'm going to show you what I designed for his table. Let me see if I can find it. Table. Where the fuck is the table? This is for Astro Zombie table. Let's see if I can find this thing. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? You know, it's a great place down in DC. The Black Cat is great. Auto Bar is great down in DC. I know a couple places down in DC. I know a couple spots. I don't. The 930 Club's not around anymore, right? That's long gone. That was before my time. But yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the stickers. Sweet. The Misfits are my favorite band. We cover a lot of Misfits on this channel, people. A lot of Misfit stuff. A lot of Misfit stuff. Oh, it is still there. Okay. The whatchamacallit is still there. The 930 Club. It's great. Hold on. I'm trying to find the Misfits thing that I made. I'm glad to know that the 930 Club is live and well. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find this. So anyway, so the spin article was a real whatchamacallit was a spin job. It was a spin job. Okay, let's take a look at some comments. I think that really covers everything. By the way, I was saying all that stuff from the top of my head. Don't I would advise you to go back and look at Fat Mike's exact words, because maybe I'm slightly off. Where the fuck is this going to really bother me? Astro Zombie. You know what I realized? Oh, I know exactly where it is. Okay. No, you're going to like this. This is very cool. Took me a while. It's like kind of like a mosaic, I guess. Let me see if I can find this thing. I'm going to download it real quick. Hold on. Bear with me. I promise you what I'm about to show you is very, very awesome. Here it is. This is 30 inches by 30 inches. And I personally, these aren't all my files, but I personally, what's it called? Did the layout. I laid this all out myself. And the goal was to create the history of the Misfits on a table where you could drink your drink while looking and noticing, wow, there it is. Okay, here it is. Here, I'm going to share this with you guys real quick. Check this out. This is pretty fucking rad. I'm proud of this. Can you see that? Does it let you? There you go. Look how it's yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. A lot of I wouldn't say that they're never before seen photos, but they're definitely rare photos. There's Mike Mindless and his friend Tom. As you can see, it's very, very detailed here. And it took me about, I don't know how long it took me. It took me a little while to do that. Look, that's Steve Zing. You know, Steve Zing from Sam Hain. So that's Steve right there in his Misfits jacket. And this is a Fiend Club envelope that he got. As you can see, there's just a lot of photos. Mr. Jim. Uncle Floyd button. Had to get that in there. So put like a lot of little Easter eggs in here. There's Rocky, Jerry and Doyle's brother. There's a strange photo of Doyle. I don't know if that's even public, actually. That might be that's a very rare photo of Doyle right there. And this guy is a very important figure within Misfits lore, but he's not really known by people, but he's very important. I would say he's important. His name is George Germain, and that's a photograph of George as a young man. There's a Fiend Club. Sorry, we're getting really there. There's me. I put a photo of myself as well as a sticker, because this is like me signing the table. My friend Devin, he said, put one of your stickers in there, and I figured I'll put a photo of myself with Manny, the original drummer, and then I'll be on the table as well. I wanted to be on the table because I thought that would be kind of cool. And so, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like a big it's a tapestry, I guess. And, I didn't take any of these photos, but I put the layout. It's really fun, really cool. The whole 60% thing he would always talk about is so lame too. It's not as cool as he thinks it is. The Ramones gave 100% till the end. You ain't better cool than the Ramones, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. The collage is cool as hell. Thank you. I've met all of them, including Danzig, several times. That's awesome. So, all right, let's go back now. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. I'm going to leave this collage up because it's a cool collage. I don't think anybody will mind, right? Oh. The problem is it zooms in too much. I don't want it to be that zoomed in. Let me see if I can zoom it in. Look, there's Bobby Steele right there. Bobby! Hey, Bobby. Bobby Steele, everybody. And we got Erie Vaughn here too. I put Erie in with a drawing of Erie. So Erie and Steve Zing are both in because they're kind of like, Misfits adjacent, There's our guy, Mr. Jim. Fucking love that guy. Mr. Jim, one of the nicest dudes in the history of the world. There's Franche, real character. Sorry, this is devolving into something else. Let's just keep it on topic and then get the fuck out. Yeah, Fat Mike was a great podcast. Is it still going on or is it over? What did he say about Melanie? He was just not nice. He was not nice about any of Fat Mike's team. Who I also referred to as, minions or underlings, whatever at the time, but not the same thing. Not the same thing. I was the guy who suggested that Dan may have been homeschooled. However, I now get the feeling he's just a wet blanket with zero authority on anything punk. After the whole Melvin thing, I'm guessing Mike is not really thinking about Mr. Gatekeeper. Yeah, maybe. Dan is pretty close to my area. That's not nice. He's a weird loser who, instead of going out and starting a band, he made lame videos, YouTube, because he has no real talent. Fat Mike's junkie and his own problem. There's a lot of them, but he did pay for Frampton's flight and hotel, and all he could do in return is cry about it. You know what I didn't like about Dan's video is that he started talking about Fat Mike's drug use. And look, I'm not gonna wait. That is so none of my business, and it's not anything here nor there. But it's just like a guy who goes out of his way to, do that for you, to sit there and just slam his drug use. It was unsavory. That was unsavory. People like Dan are like the people Mike Tyson talked about in that quote. Like, everybody talks mad shit until they're on the receiving end of a punch to the face. I like him, but he's a bitch. I like him, but he's a bitch. Dan is a good shit talker. That is all. I used to enjoy his channel, but when I realized he was shit talking for the sake of shit talking, I unfollowed him. Punk Rock Radar seemed to have plenty of good interactions at the same time. Those are the guys that interviewed Mike. Mike gave them such a juicy, soundbite laden interview, just insane. A big one. That was a big interview for them, I think. Must be. I heard from a few people also around Toronto that Dan sits home all day and doesn't leave the house because when he does, oh my god, that he harasses women. Jesus Christ. Does he work at Starbucks? Can anybody confirm that Dan Frampton works at Starbucks? What happens if Dan doesn't apologize and just keeps making videos without addressing it? So it seems, I mean, we could just go to his YouTube channel and take a look. I don't think that he's made any fucking videos addressing it. Oh, look. Oh my God. He just made a video 11 minutes ago. We have to look at it. We are so holy shit. All right. So he did just make a video. He did just make a video. We have to look at it right now. Sorry, we're not out of here yet. We're not out of here yet, especially because do we really want to have another part? We're not going to have it. This is it. I hope this is an apology. Dan, I hope you had enough common sense to apologize here. To do the honorable thing. Here is a brand new Dan Frampton video that came out 11 minutes ago. Well, let me get the cans on. Okay, let's see what Dan has to say in this video. Ready?
Ladies, how's it going? How's it going? Hey, hi, hello, ladies. How's it going? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good. Me, I'm not doing so great. Upon reflection, I feel really bad about how everything went down with the whole NOFX situation. I don't feel great about any of this sort of thing. So I'm basically here to say, like, I deleted that video and I'm very sorry.
That's a good start to the video. Okay. Okay, Dan. That's what I'm talking about. So literally, as we're fucking...
Now, I'm not here to get into the whole thing.
Wait a minute. He made this video. Do you think that he made this video? Do you think, is it possible that Dan was watching this video about an apology and now here he is making the apology right now? Is that possible? Am I being too full of myself right now that Dan would be watching a video and then, I mean, if his name comes up, oh my God, they're talking about me. Like, is Dan the kind of guy that's gonna watch a video being made about him? If so, either which way, Dan, good for you, man. I'm good on Dan Frampton. This is redemption. This is a happy ending, baby. This is a happy ending to this fucking thing. Let's go on.
I'm not going to make an entire drama video on this drama, but if you've been following the situation,
well, let me just up the. If you've been following the situation, Dan, we have been. Dan, you got to get bet. Look, Dan, you're stuck in 720p. You got to get a little bit better, man. You got to get a little bit better. Okay, so a lot of people. Okay, apparently, a lot of people subscribe to his channel, like myself, have urged him to delete it. But I'm not saying to delete it. I'm saying that he should to apologize. To apologize. The crew asked him for an apology, probably DM'd him, and he decided to man up. Whatever. Yes, that's probably what happened. I'm glad that Dan is apologizing. I just can't believe that it came out 11 minutes ago. That's what I'm like, what? Like, it's just so, it's crazy. And that's why they deleted the screenshots too. So now here's my question. Okay, now it's all making sense. So here's my question. Should this video come down? Should I delete my video now? Do I delete my video? And when I say delete, so see, somebody else says, nah, he's watching. Now let's see, does he acknowledge the $1,700? I'll be curious. I will be curious. I see this a lot, a lot about the way that Dan wears his hat. What's wrong with the way he wears his hat? I think it's fine. I don't have any problem with the way he wears his hat. His appearance is fine. He just looks like a guy. He looks like a hipster or whatever. Nah, leave your video up. But I see, I think he's watching and he was like, all right, He listened to me. He listened to me. He said, "You know what? I'm going to make that apology video." No, keep it up. Let the man feel shame for years to come. I don't want to make him feel shame for years to come. But if the band deleted their stuff and Dan deleted his, I'm the one that's holding the record of this even happening. So therefore, how about this? I'm going to put this out there. Dan Frampton or NOFX Management, I invite you to you email me and tell me that you want this video to come down, and I will take it down. Okay? You take this down. See, someone else is agreeing with me. I'm a little full of myself right now, but you absolutely put more pressure on him. He can't ignore the video content. He can't ignore the comments. Dan Frampton and NOFX team, if I invite you to message me if you feel that I need to take this down. Maybe I won't take it down, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. They gotta come on the show. Oh, I like that. I like this actually. That's what if you want this deleted, you gotta come on. No, if either one of them came to me, I'll tell you one thing. I'd make it private. I wouldn't delete it, but I would make it private. That's what I would do. All right. Keep it up. You got to keep those numbers to get Glenn on your channel. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you I can't tell you what has been going on behind the scenes for me, but all I could say is if you only fucking knew. If you only knew. I know you're in here. I know you're in here. It's not Glenn. It's definitely not Glenn, but my God, let's just say that if I could only talk. If I could only talk. All right, let's keep listening. Let's keep watching Dan. What is Dan? We're only 29 seconds in, but Dan's apologized in the first 29 seconds. Dan, I'm proud of you, bud. I am fucking proud of you, dude. Like respect. At least respect for these first 29 seconds. Let's keep listening.
You're caught up to speed already. To make an entire drama video on this drama, but if you've been following the situation, you're caught up to speed already. Well, you might have realized that this whole NOFX Austin trip journey or whatever ended with one video of me just like screaming and raging for about a half an hour. Now, I feel extremely bad about this. I acted emotionally and irrationally, and I said a bunch of shit that I really regret. I'm not here to make excuses about any of this sort of stuff. I was just simply wrong. I fucked up, and I'm just here to say sorry. So, to Mike and the entire NOFX crew, from me to you guys, I am truly sorry for my immature actions. This was the first time I was going to do anything like this, like travel to a new place, do anything new, go to a festival. It was definitely my first time talking to like industry professionals and people's people, that kind of thing. So when I got down there, admittedly, I didn't really know what to do. But
you know what? I will say this. It takes a lot of fucking balls to do that. That's not easy to do. Still, the $1,700 from the GoFundMe comes into. Let's see if he addresses that. But whatever. I'm not going to hold him to that either. I don't know his situation. Sorry, the seltzer's making me burp. But I do think this is quite remarkable. And there's no excuses. It's just an apology with accountability. I am accountable, right? I'm being accountable. But here's the thing. This is a 5-minute video, and it was uploaded 11 minutes ago. And this is my big question. Was Dan watching us just now and feel inspired to fucking make this video? I don't know. Who knows? I think it's kind of fucking funny. All right.
It really wasn't so hard. Everybody in the NOFX crew really were so kind with me all the way through all of this, and it really would have been just as simple as reaching out to them or finding them there in that room. In the moment, I had no idea how to handle this situation. I got frustrated, I got flustered, I got angry, I simmered, I stewed, I brooded or whatever. I came home, I did more stewing, and then I made that rage-filled video that I feel
that's full fucking accountability, dude. That's full on accountability, man. Like, I can't argue with that he's being straight up accountable. Again, will he go the distance? Is he going to mention the GoFundMe? I mean, this is the perfect ending to this fucking video. I'm so stoked. Someone says this isn't a coincidence. I mean, I don't know. I still say we cut him a break and unsubscribe. I mean, look, all right, let's keep listening to him.
Feel very bad about. I wish it didn't end this way, because in actuality, I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity. I got to go down to Austin, Texas to South by Southwest for the premiere of the NOFX documentary. This is not something I take lightly, and somehow all of that got clouded because of how frustrated and flustered I got, but I don't want to make excuses. I was wrong, and I fucked up, and I'm sorry. I never make emotional videos like that. I never react like that publicly to interpersonal disputes. It's so
Sorry, I've zoned out there. Let me just take it back.
I make excuses. I was wrong and I fucked up and I'm sorry. I never make emotional videos like that. I never react like that publicly to interpersonal disputes. It's so way out of character. And for all of those reasons, I've taken the video down. The video will remain down, and from here on out, I swear to God, I'm going to act in good faith when it comes to NOFX, because really, they've been nothing but kind to me behind the scenes, and I raged because I was frustrated. Were there...
Dude, oh, come on. Waiting for him to pull out a ukulele? Guys, this is a fucking pretty good apology, man. I can't argue with this. I mean, this is the thing about, in general, with internet apologies. What do you expect? What is someone supposed to do? Here's my blood. Take my blood. You know, I mean, like, what is somebody supposed to do, man? He's handling this the right fucking way. I can't argue with that. Again, is he going to bring up the GoFundMe? This is embarrassing to do this. And, you know, again, the other thing too, having social anxiety, having panic attacks and stuff. I wonder if him being on the internet, doing it through the internet, allows him to like deal with it. I'm sorry. They say, let him finish. Okay, I'll shut up.
Some banger lines in that video. Of course, I cooked. It was a hell of a performance, but it was in that video because I was frustrated. Were there some banger lines in that video? Of course, I cooked. It was a hell of a performance, but
Dan, this is the one. Okay, listen, 2 minutes and 46 seconds in, Dan, you're doing a great fucking job. You did not cook in that video. There were no banging lines in that video. That video was fucking trash. It was trash, dude. It's trash. You did not fucking cook, okay? And again, now you're starting to lose it. You're starting to teeter, Dan. You're doing so good.
It was wrong and it shouldn't exist, so it's down forever. I want to keep this video extremely brief and only talk about the apology, but in the next day or so, I am going to release a review of that movie that I was so privileged and lucky to have gotten to see. And in that's also restorative, I think, to do an actual review, right? They flew you down there for your journalistic. You have 2,400,000 subscribers, you know, like, I mean, come on, man. Like you should do a review. He says he's going to do a review. That's also so far. I give him a B plus. He gets a letter off for that line about his banger lines and stuff. That rage-filled video, I may have said some really mean things, and I may have been a little bit hyperbolic, standing on misguided rage.
Okay, that's also not great, like saying you may have, because you were. Just fucking, look, if you're already copping to it, just fucking cop to it, dude. Just fucking cop to it, all right? Don't I mean, listen again. Listen, he's like, it's like plausible deniability here.
To be honest, the film actually did move me to tears at one point, and I'm excited to share my actual thoughts of this film. And just because I'm very sorry about my actions, standing on some really mean things, so privileged and lucky to have gotten to see. And in that rage-filled video, I may have said some really mean things, and I may have. Come on, Dan. You may have been a little bit hyperbolic, standing on misguided rage.
Okay, you may have, or just say I am hyperbolic. someone says he's not going to bring up the GoFundMe. He's not going to want to bring attention to it. That will be that's the big elephant in the room, right? That's the big elephant in the room. So he hasn't changed. It just took everyone watching the video from us, the NOFX crew, and the entire world to call him out. I just think it's like, again, I'm kind of shocked. I literally came to YouTube. I was completely unexpected. I said, let's go look at Dan's YouTube channel just to see what videos he's made, what new videos he's made about. And the fact that he literally made a fucking video about fucking Fat Mike, dude. That's nuts.
Because to be honest, the film actually did move me to tears at one point, and I'm excited to share my actual thoughts of this film. And just because I'm very sorry about my actions doesn't mean I'm not going to be a little bit critical, because it's not a perfect film. No films are perfect. So I'm still going to try to approach it with a level of honesty, but just...
Well, look, as you should, because, but the thing too is when you're criticizing anything, it should be constructive criticism. You can't just say something sucks. Not that's what Dan's saying here. You can't just say something sucks. You have to say, I didn't like this. This didn't resonate with me because. There's got to be a because. And what is the because? We all wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. He failed at everything. He gave the film a bad review. Said that it had storyline issues and was boring. He in that original video, he did do that. Okay, keep the video up if he doesn't mention the GoFundMe. That's another. I really don't want to take this video down, period. I thought this was a fun video. But again, if NOFX or if someone comes along and says, hey man, could you just take this down? We squashed it and we don't want a record of, like, I could respect that. I can at least, I'll put it behind a wall. I won't make it public. It'll be for Patreon and YouTube members only.
No, if you watch that one video, it isn't really as bad as I said it was. Now, I've never had to make an apology video like this before. I'm not expecting anybody to accept my apology, but just know I feel so bad that it went down like this. I feel so bad about how I acted in this situation, and
that I could believe. That I truly could believe. I think he did feel bad about it. I think he did feel bad. I think he's doing, this is the right thing. Even though I'm not going to like sit here and fucking hang him over, a couple of really cringe lines, because this is overall, I'd say this is a pretty good apology.
I've learned what to do in the future if I'm ever presented in a situation like this ever again, God forbid. So to Fat Mike, the crew, and everybody, I'm so sorry, but also you gotta know how thankful I am. I'm endlessly thankful to Fat Mike, the entire crew, and my audience for making this possible.
Look, even if it's lip service or not, like, this is what an apology is. Like, this is what an apology is. How is anybody supposed to be able to move on from something if you don't? He's literally going on the internet and publicly acknowledging this. It's not fucking easy to do. I will give him props on that. Okay, no matter what his reasoning is, whether he really truly feels that he was wrong or that he's trying to reverse this so that he could just go about his merry way, he's still taking responsibility for his actions.
For making this whole thing come true. And that's another reason why I feel
yes, that was horrible. That was horrible that he said that he had banger lines that cooked. That is pretty conceited thing to say about that video. He should be, I would be fucking embarrassed. I would just be embarrassed and I would feel cringe. So I don't know, man. He'll never be presented with this opportunity again. I was thinking about that this entire time. I was like, I don't know that he would ever be given such an opportunity ever again. He might have fumbled his one opportunity. I never say never, and you never know. Maybe Fat Mike, out of the graciousness of his heart, will come on his show. That would be a very nice sort of resolution. If that happened, I would not talk about it. This is the very last thing to discuss. This is the very last thing about this thing that we need to discuss. We don't need to go. This was the fucking be all end all. This is a banger of an ending to this, whatever this is. Why would you take the video down? It's documenting social media history. Keep it up, especially until the money gets refunded. I wouldn't have known about the GoFundMe if it wasn't for you. All right, maybe maybe I will keep it up. Maybe I will keep it up. If you didn't do the whole may have and banger lines thing, I would have given him more of the benefit of the doubt. I do agree that was pretty shitty. He could have acted professional and had more opportunities to destroy his credibility. That's what it is. He has destroyed his credibility. He made this apology and whatever. Yeah, he'll go back to making YouTube videos. I don't know, man. Maybe Fat Mike will come on his show now. I don't know. Or maybe Fat Mike is just like, no, you fucking, you're cooked. Cooked.
So bad that I dropped the ball as it pertains to this whole thing. I allowed my frustration to get the better of me, and although everybody had the best intent in mind, the best content and the best outcome certainly did not happen, and a lot of that is my fault. So I'm sorry to anybody that I've let down, but also know I'm extremely thankful. I'm not done grinding. I'm not done making content. I got comic books to make. I got reels to make. I got 2 YouTube channels to keep going, and I plan on keeping this grind going hardcore. And without you guys, there's no way I'm able to create what I want to create every single day. I'm extremely privileged and I'm extremely lucky, and I don't take any of it for granted. This video was harder than most videos for me to make. I stumbled my way through it, which is why you see so many jump cuts through it. I'm so sorry about all of that. And like the old drama YouTuber adage goes, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and this time I was the nail. I'm very sorry. Okay, I gotta end this video.
That last line was good. That's being a good sport about it. Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. He is most certainly the nail, and he's recognizing that he is the nail. That I can appreciate. He did not, but we are at the end. No mention of a $1,700 GoFundMe, or acknowledging that his hotel was paid for. That's kind of fucked.
You know what? I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. I hope to see you in my next video. Okay, goodbye. See you later, and have a good one.
I wonder, does he feel peace now that he did that? Guys, that's the end of the show. That's the end. I mean, I can't, I literally, we're just going around in circles. That was the conclusion. Dan apologized. He didn't acknowledge. Okay, so let's final way out. This is the this is the Jerry Springer final moment of the show. He started off really strong. This is my review. This is my review of the Dan Frampton apology over going to the NOFX documentary premiere in South by Southwest. Dan started off really strong with his apology. Like the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds, I was like, wow, that's fucking. And again, like I said, here we are, does I'm not going to highlight that comment. He made $1,700. No. Let's see. I wonder did he take down the GoFundMe? No, it's still up there. The NOFX fund. Here's how much he actually raised. That's not true. He raised this much money. Sorry, Dan. We know you just made an apology, but here we go. He made $2,400 Canadian, 1,760 raised American. Okay. So yeah, he did not address that part at all in his apology video. And yes, the GoFundMe is technically still up. So like I said, he did pretty well for the first 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Then he goes into this whole diatribe of yeah, I was cooking and I had banger lines, and just, did he trip so hard all over his face? Kind of recovers a little bit, offers to sort of some restoration by reviewing, doing a proper review of the movie, and then doesn't speak on the GoFundMe. So I'm going to give his apology. It's a passing grade. I'm going to give it a B minus. It's a B minus. I'm going to give him a B minus. That is just, I'm giving him a B minus that's getting butt fucked by a C plus. Does that make sense what I just said? A B minus getting butt fucked by a C plus. That is where I put that apology. Like I said, took most responsibility, did not take full responsibility. Full responsibility would be dissolving and refunding the GoFundMe money. It's possible that he spent the money and cannot pay it back and therefore is not acknowledging that. Which would be something else. And he has to make that proper video. Oh, another thing about his apology, he should have personally apologized to Melanie and to Sharky, right? Like he should have apologized to them because he mentioned them by name in the video and he did not make a personal apology. I'm going to agree with David. It's a C minus. Maybe a solid C. It's a solid C. Is it a C? Well, it was part of the promotional budget. I'm sure they send out flyers to various media members. It's kind of pro forma. Still, he had to take quite a few days off work to do it. Like, here's the thing. No matter what, it doesn't matter whether it was part of the promotional budget. If Fat Mike personally paid for him to fly out there. Like, there's probably people that were invited. Initially, he was invited without paying for his flight. Dan said, I can't afford to go down there. And Fat Mike said, I'll pay for your flight and hotel. Right? So yeah, but okay. So the things that are really missing from this apology, personal apologies to Melanie and Sharky should have happened. Acknowledgement of the GoFundMe and the full line of the bangers or whatever. Otherwise, I would say pretty good fucking apology. But I think we're gonna have to give it a C. I think, yeah, it's getting knocked down. It's not getting the C doesn't have a strap on and going into the B minus. It doesn't matter whether it's part of the promotional budget or not. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Someone says, wait, why would he pay it back? Of course, he spent the money. They covered the flight and he had to pay for his own hotel and Uber and that kind of stuff. So, okay. So just to explain something to you, Vonnegut, Rosewater, Fat Mike paid for his hotel as well. And you're right. He doesn't necessarily have to pay the money back, but the point was that in his video, I think you're not aware of this, in one of his videos for that GoFundMe, he made mention that he needed to pay for his hotel. So people were donating to a GoFundMe under the guise that they were subsidizing Dan Frampton's hotel stay when they weren't, because he had the money. So that's the deception, I think. I like that you said Bill Burr before he became, because fuck Bill Burr, man. I liked Bill Burr a lot. I thought what he did was very hypocritical, and he's really Bill Burr has destroyed his career. But let me tell you, I'll never forget, that guy Ethan Klein had Bill Burr on. Bill Burr eviscerated him. I would be fucking intimidated as fuck to interview Bill Burr. Or, I mean, even Fat Mike would not be an easy interview. I don't know. How would I interview Fat Mike? I think I know how I would. I think I know how I would do that. Vonnegut says, I mean, what is 3 nights in a hotel in Austin? I mean, it's a pretty huge chunk of 1,700 right there. Yeah, Vonnegut, I don't know if you heard us, but they covered the hotel cost. So that was not part of the cost. Look, you could still very easily spend 1,700 in 2 days. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, he had all of the basic fundamental needs of his trip were covered, apart from, I guess, lost wages. I don't know. So I don't really, and he says an Uber to and from per diem for 3 meals a day. I think you're out of touch, man. He claimed that he had to take 3 or 4 days off his full-time job at Starbucks. He had to get his driver's license renewed so he could fly. Sure, he was trying to raise $2,500. What did it say in oh god. It's saying the fucking thing. It was his goal. Wait a minute. He raised 1,760 of 2.4K. So what's 2.4K? The goal was 2,400 Canadian. What's 2,400 Canadian to US dollars is 17. Wait, what? Okay. So, and if that is on, let's do some quick math. What was the goddamn final goal? Hold on a second. I'm taking a look here. It doesn't say. Normally it says. It doesn't actually say what the final. So what's 74%? Hold on, we can do this math. So dollars. Sorry, I'm not talking. Is 74% of what number? The answer is, so he was trying to raise $2,355 US, not Canadian, right? And then 2,300. Son of a bitch. So 24, yeah, US to Canadian. Sorry. Wow, I am just sucking right now. There we go. That's what we wanted. So he was trying to raise 3,300 Canadian dollars. That's what he was trying to raise in total. Honestly, he was pretty transparent about it. If you read his GoFundMe, he has a bullet for everything he's going to be spending the money on. Are you just ignoring the fact that his hotel was paid for? I don't know what else to say to you. Like, you're just ignoring. You just keep ignoring the facts. Mike paid for the flight, at least he had that. They claimed that he covered the lodging, dude. Like, what do you want? I don't know what. I didn't claim it. I'm just people asking what he did with the 1,700 and trying to line it up. I appreciate that, Vonnegut. I appreciate that. But you keep ignoring the key fact that the hotel cost that much money. That's okay. I apologize for my DC over New York punks. It's the Misfits are my favorite band. You know, it's good that, but a lot of people think the Misfits are a New Jersey band. The Misfits are a New York band. Okay. Like, people are making it seem like 1,700 of just pure petty cash to go spending. I think it's a little hyperbolic. Okay. Between Ubers and food and getting his license and stuff renewed, he's probably got it. Maybe that would take up half the money. It doesn't matter either which way. He claimed on his video, I need to cover my hotel. Fat Mike paid for the hotel. That's the deception. That's the scam. That's a scam. Alleged scam. Allegedly. Right? It's not 760 Canadian. It's 760 American. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Regardless, if I donated money to a GoFundMe to a channel that would lead to awesome content towards the channel, if I donated money to a GoFundMe to a channel that would lead to awesome content towards the channel, but instead he had a panic attack and no content was posted to the channel. Right. I could appreciate that. Either which way, he didn't. Hold on. I just want to see what I want Vonnegut to agree with me. Agree with me. No, sorry. If anything, I thought the more ethical problem Dan had was lecturing people about their alcohol consumption and their sobriety, which is just none of his business. Okay, do me one favor, though. Like, seriously, do me one favor. Can you please acknowledge the thing about say that you understand that Fat Mike paid for the hotel room, too? That's all I'm asking for. Please acknowledge that. This fucking... but I don't really have any ethical problem with him raising $1,700. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem either. It's just more, everything. It doesn't matter what he needed the money for. It's just that he was asking for money for something that he didn't use the money for. Not everything was paid for. The money was to reimburse him for taking 3 days off work. That's like what, $500 a night, 300 meals, $500 right there, 3 meals a day, Uber rides to and from. I don't know, man. My understanding was that the only thing that was covered was the flight and the entry into the event. Okay, Vonnegut, go to the beginning of this video and read the screenshot that we read at the very beginning where Jay, the manager of NOFX, exclaims and provides and claims he has receipts that Fat Mike paid for Dan's hotel stay. Okay? That's the point. That's the whole friggin' point. Yes, exactly. Vonnegut is Dan's burner account. I don't know if you guys have ever traveled for work, but per diem is usually like $80 a day or something, and that's just food. Okay, if Dan was there for 48 hours, $80 a day is still $160 out of $1,700. Plus Ubers, like, come on, man. Reimbursed him for taking time off work sounds like a lame excuse. That does sound like a lame excuse. I mean, Dan could be using like comp days or something, even at Starbucks. I don't fucking know. I don't know. This is the end. You're right. Ted is right. Dude, we need to stop giving this ungrateful wet blanket. It's over. It's over. I'll give Dan gets partial credit for his apology, but he does not get full credit. Okay? Read the GoFundMe. He promises viewers entertaining content from the event. Users donated money and got absolutely zero content in return. Why is she so defensive for Dan? I don't think she's being, it's not that she's being defensive for Dan. She's just looking, I understand what Vonnegut's saying. What's frustrating me, and I'm not frustrated with you, Vonnegut, at all, but I'm just saying, like, what you're not acknowledging is that you're not acknowledging that the hotel was paid for. The hotel was paid for. That's the point. The hotel was the hotel and the flight are the biggest expenses. And frankly, the hotel is probably the biggest expense, probably even more so than the, how many nights did he stay? If he stayed for 2 nights, you would imagine if he was there for 3 to 4 days, dude, if you're there 3 to 4 days, why didn't he go to all 4 fucking screen? Whatever. It's over. It's over. This is the end. This is the end. Yes, we know I got an I Hate Fat Mike video that's no longer public. Yeah, true. All right, guys, this was wow. I didn't think we would do a whole extra hour, and the viewer retention was crazy, and we did it. We did the thing. We got the best possible ending in the situation, a Dan Frampton response video in real time, so that we could kind of put a neat little bow, because there's no more satisfaction that's going to come out of this. It's done. The whole thing is done. Thank you for joining me. I do believe we will be back tomorrow. Is anybody a fan of the Ramones? Because tomorrow we are unboxing a brand new Ramones tribute record that came out. I'm going to have CEO Sharpie RIOT on with me, and we're going to listen through and sort of decide if we like the covers these Ramones covers. Kind of like if you were there, we did the Misfits tribute record, same label. We did the Misfits tribute record somewhere back on the channel. Go search up that where I was dancing all funny to the really fun, interesting dance versions of Misfits songs. So now I guess there's a Ramones one. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same vibe, but whatever. In any case, thank you so much. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the tips, Ted, and everybody have a wonderful night. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Join us in the live stream. Peace, hair grease,